You're listening to the Who is Christine Anyway podcast, season 2. Enjoy.
Anal Gravy Boat would be good too. That'd be a good one.
That'd be a great band. It's like, this is a biscuit and anal gravy.
Dude, anybody who ever listens to this, like if anybody's looking for some shit to say, just know that being able to laugh about stuff like this is way cooler than being fucking offended by anything.
I love it. Like, I feel like it's so easy to be offended by everything. And I just kind of like, I don't know. I just enjoy, I don't want to say I enjoy people much. I just enjoy perspective and I love intellect and I love people that can like actually hear things and like expand that mind.
That's cool. Just don't say that sentence ever again, please. For everyone.
Like, well, there goes half of my fucking bio on Facebook. Thanks. Now when your episode drops, I'm just going to straight change my bio to that. And you're just going to be like, oh, it's time.
Founding member of Anal Gravy Boat.
Dude, it's got to be a whole category on an adult site somewhere.
You know, it's really weird because like in my industry, a lot of people are very like uptight about being themselves because it's a really sensitive, you know, the video game industry is really cool. It actually reminds me a lot of the metal industry, and like you would like it because you've been networking and doing this thing for so long, and Brent would love it too because it's really cool. Everybody's like open. It's kind of like the Wild West right now. But then there's also this like fear of perception of like personalities, and I'm like, since I entered into it, I've just been who I am because I don't want it to be a shock when people hear shit like Anal Gravy Boat. You know, it's like I am who I am. If you don't fucking like me, don't hire me. I do a good job. I make you think I care about it.
Line.
Yeah, you could start it. Oh my God, Anal Gravy Boat would be awesome. You could just, I'm sure.
Why isn't that the floating fucking
looking
lakes right now? What the fuck with all these floating festivals? Like we could have this. Like,
that could have been the.
You have your ticket to get on the Anal Gravy Boat, sir?
The moral of the story is that like, you know, just have a sense of humor, relax, you know?
Yeah.
Don't push it too far. Don't push it too far back. But, you know, you could have a sense of humor and still be a professional and do a good job.
Right. That's true. And especially like in what you do. So you, again, you're very, I like the term fluid. You kind of move through things. You're very relaxed. It's not rigid. It's very not rigid. Talking to you in general, meeting you in person, you're exactly what you're going to get. You know what I mean? Like there's no buyer beware for you. Like that's like the kind of thing where I'm kind of like the same. Well, there probably is after. I'm gonna have to like mark this podcast with buyer beware under for the boat content, but that's fine. Ooh, somehow boats and hoes could come into that. That's a whole other.
You can bleep out whatever you want. I don't give a shit.
I don't even bleep. I just leave them. Like I kind of edit down, but I don't edit out a lot because I think that like you, I think authenticity is great, and I think it's everyone's always like, you must have done so much to get where you are. And I'm like, quite frankly, it's just a lot of hard work. It's, you know, listening to people, it's working through things. It's also being willing to try new things. Yep. And, you know, I'm not afraid to suck at something in the beginning. I'm not afraid to turn it into whatever. And whatever, you know, you just did it like a whole, like, did you do a panel or a class out at NAM? Like,
I did a Nail the Mix course.
Yeah, so you did a course. So teaching, educational type situation. Yep. And I'm a huge cheerleader that like, I think education should be free. I just always think that what matters is what people do with it.
Totally.
And when I say free, I mean, like, if you're going to share your experiences, like if somebody's telling me a story about how something's failed, that's free education.
Yep.
If they're telling me how something has worked, that's free education. And
it's how they don't make the same mistakes I did.
Yeah. And it's also learning how to be like, it's like the creativity. Like when you do composition and stuff, you know, you're taking and pulling from different instruments, different areas as you're putting things in, different movements, I'm sure, all kinds of stuff going to the process that is known as that. And it's kind of like, that's kind of how you have to move through the business of life as well as the industry itself, is you have to kind of take and pull from everywhere else. And when I say that it's always interesting, it's what you do with it that matters. And we go back to talking about how kids are dumb. It could be anybody who does this. Like you can give them the same lesson. Don't stick a fork in an outlet. And there's always going to be one who's like, well, I could do it. I know he said you can't, but I can do it that way. And it's like, don't do it. And then they just end up getting electrocuted. And it's amusing, but it's sad.
And then you diagnosed oppositional defiant disorder very easily. Don't do that. This? Oh, I see you.
What do you mean?
I see you, bud. figured you out. By the way, kids are dumb, but so are grown people. So we're all dumb. We're humans. Humans
Yeah,
are
it's
dumb.
like
If you're a
three.
person, you have dumb things about you, even if you're the smartest person you know.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think we should bring Woodstock back. You and I. I told you, I'm just need to.
I hate
or you can-
festivals. I've already told you this.
I know, but just
Bring
bring it
Woodstock
back. Just bring it back.
I'm gonna play one in October. Actually, I think it got announced today.
Are you gonna walk out and like go over to the mic and be like, "This is shit," and I just can't play?
I'm gonna play and leave.
I kind of just. Can you bring some plywood so I can get that out the way? Like off
when
my-
does
off
this
my
episode come out? I could probably talk about it because it's not announced yet publicly.
It's not announced yet, and this isn't announced for its release date yet. So within probably about another week or two when this episode will drop. But yeah, like
You might have to edit this out. I got to find out, but I'm going to say it just in case it's okay. I'm going to be playing guitar for Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza at Furnace Fest in October.
oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So I'm only doing one show with them though. It's just a fill-in thing. I love the guys. I've known the guys for so long, like almost as long as I've been doing music, basically.
Mhm.
And Lane is like one of my favorite people on the planet. And he just asked me because Josh has other obligations, Josh Travis, and he can't do it. So I said, yeah, I'll help out because they wanted to say yes. And if they didn't have two guitar players, they didn't want to do it. So I said, yes. So here I am. I'm going to go play this fucking emo. What do they call it? A midlife crisis? You know, it's like a
Midlife Crisis Fest. Is that
festival.
what you just called
That's
it?
basically what. Yeah, but here's the cool thing. So two things. Furnace Fest. I have it on DVD from when I was a kid. I bought it because it had Between the Buried and Me on it, like 2002 or something like that, 2001. Secondly, my friend Rich Hall, who just passed away very recently, like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. My timeline is so fucked up. It was right before NAMM. Sorry. He passed away. He was a really good friend. Booked Binary Code a lot in Brooklyn. Put us on a lot of really cool shows with bands like Shadows Fall and Periphery and stuff. Just a good guy. We've had great banter together. We used to hunt for high chews before they were, you could buy them anywhere. And he passed away, but he used to have a hand in making Furnace Fest come to life early on. So I was like, yeah, I'll play this for a multitude of reasons. A, love the Danza guys. B, Rich Hall. And then C, it'll be cool to play on the stage one time and not have to do it for a long time ever again. Cause I don't miss it. I gotta be
You
real.
really don't like not at all.
No. No, I have no gripe against it either. It's just I've come to terms with the fact that I do music for me, and I'm very fortunate that people like what I do, so they hire me to do it for their games and their soundtracks, right? So like I'm very lucky that that happens, but I've never really cared when somebody compliments what I do about music. So like playing on stage in a lot of ways is like the best way to get this confirmation that what you're doing is good. And it's like barely ever resonated with me because I'm like, I don't really care. I wouldn't care if you were here. I played empty rooms and I loved it just as much. It means nothing to me. So I don't know. I love music more than anything. I love hanging with the boys. You know what I mean? Like playing with my band was always about like, oh, I get to hang out with PJ on stage and like we get to laugh about things or hate everything by the end of the night. Like we would finish a set on tour with like Leprous or something, and like our one string would be out of tune for like half of a second of a song, and we'd go walk around all of Toronto because we were fumingly pissed off that it happened, and then we get over it. It's it's just like cool. I'm hanging with my my family basically, but other than that, no, I don't miss playing. I don't miss the hoorah of being in a band like where you have to like gather everybody around to support you for something that they don't care about as much as you. Like it's like care about what I do or don't. I don't give a fuck what you do. You do your thing. I support people all the time. Like I'm happy to be a cheerleader for people and support and do everything I can. But I had so little support morally to do music when I was a kid that I built this like exterior shell that it's unaffected in both ways.
Really? So like when you were a kid and you were kind of what triggered you to kind of go into music if you were so unsupported in it? Like when did you realize that it was going to potentially be I don't want to say a character trait because that's not it. It's an artistic, it's a personality trait is what it is. Artistic
It's
personality.
like an achievement was unlocked.
Yeah. It's like a whole, it's like a side quest.
Well, so I think I'm lazy, like a lot of people, and guitar came really easy to me. Like sports was really easy for me. A lot of them were, and the ones that were hard, I just never even tried. So the ones that I was good at, I went forward with it and like made it my life at the time. And then when I tried playing guitar at one point and I was like really getting into metal music, like really heavily. I picked up guitar and like got good at it very quickly, like, like just instantly picked it up and was able to like play along and stuff. I was able to kind of like figure out like Dillinger Escape Plan stuff, like when I first picked up guitar, and had like no music training whatsoever at that point. So it was kind of like, oh, this is easy and fun. And like, I'm, like pretending to be this band and it feels really cool. And then I got kind of bored, like learning other people's music, and I just started writing my own shit. And I was like, I think this is what I'm going to do. And then my mom was really supportive of it. And then I moved up to New Jersey with my family, who are all amazing people, and they're all like supportive in their own ways. Like they supported in ways that I wasn't being supported in other ways when I was living with my mom. And they were concerned that music was going to stifle like a real career, so to speak, quote unquote. And
Right.
there was some
I think that always crosses the plates for everyone's like, well, what are you going to do to feed yourself? It's like, well, this is fine.
it was a pretty strong push against it, though. You know what I mean? It was pretty strong. Like it caused rifts between me and my close family members sometimes.
What did they want you to do? Like, was there like something where they're like,
I was never vocalized. It was just, don't do that.
anything?
Yeah, but it was a lot of like, you're never going to be a professional with this kind of. It was wild. And they were, there's a lot of things that I agree with, because like I would have a hard time seeing myself not say that too, except when I see a kid who's talented now, who's like really hungry for something, and I connect with them on the, I don't want to say spiritual, but it's like that innate level.
It's a
of
connect.
yeah,
It's
the
like those little
conscious level.
snap. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy to invest supporting them in whatever way I can, but like when I see resistance in that person, I tend to kind of back away and try to encourage them to get like a real job and stuff. But with me, they didn't understand. I mean, they had no reason to understand. Metal music was not cool to make in the early 2000s. You can totally make a career out of it right now, but make no mistake, to anybody who's ever like listened to this that knows metal now, just because it's good now doesn't mean it always was. It was at its worst in the early 2000s. Like bands that could sell out arenas now couldn't fill up half of a VFW. So they had every reason to be concerned about it. The only problem was that I didn't drink, I didn't do drugs. So I didn't see what the problem was. Like, what more concern could you possibly have, like, on playing shows? In fact, like, it was like very militant for me. I was like really into it and like took it very seriously. And I raised myself on my experiences with music. So it was very important for me. But I also like don't expect every parent in the world to see that level of potential in a kid, because I didn't even see the potential. That like, I just knew that I really wanted it. It was very self-serving for me. I wanted this really badly. I didn't see that the music or the voice and the vocabulary and the perspective of music I had would be valuable to like the biggest entertainment companies on the planet someday. I had no idea, because I wasn't chasing that. You know what I mean? So I think there was reason for them to be resistant to it in a lot of ways, but it definitely helped me build strength and muscle to, go forward even when somebody talks shit in the lamb goat comments. It's like, oh, somebody talked shit, good for them.
Goat comments. Like it's like its own like.
Yeah.
I wonder who I can. Let's go see what the real world thinks, and it's not even real world. It's just this land vote.
There are still assholes out there who I've wronged in some way at some point in my band career. Wronged meaning like I probably told them they sucked or fired them or they were crazy and I didn't tolerate them. Some shit, right? There's still people who show up in the comment sections and like talk shit. And it's like, man, I feel so bad. I just want to like make a wish style. Like, how can I help you do something in your life that will change the huge gashing wound that you have that lets anybody else's success that you've ever run into bother you? It's very weird.
That's the part I could never understand, is how people would think that somebody's success is their downfall. Like they think success is finite. Like that's the thing. It's like, well,
it's an unlimited resource to us. Yeah. We know that. But to them, it's like, there's only like 10, it's like the pandemic and toilet paper. It's like, you fucking idiot. You just don't understand the supply chain. Like, calm down. Stop wiping your ass with t-shirts. That's crazy.
My grandparents used to joke about using the Sears catalog and how you could get like, it's like, I'm like, what?
Wait, for white people? Are we getting back? Dude. Hold on, dude. This is supposed to be an aside. We're not getting back to brown talk again. Are we not going to start talking about pooping again?
All right, get off the gravy boat. Get back here. It's one of those.
The Sears catalog for what?
They would call it woodsman's friend.
What's that?
Like if you pull over side the road and you gotta go because like it's woods for miles up here, dude. What are you gonna
Woodsman's
wipe with?
friend. Okay, dude, I'm sorry. I'm not from northern New York. This place that's like pretty much like a wonder of the world. I didn't even know people.
It hasn't been a destination on Naked and Afraid yet, so I'll have you know we have people here.
What was the lake? Saranac Lake. I like looked it up before, and then like right next to it was
Yeah.
like Santa's worship. I'm like, what is going on up here? Is this
Okay,
real?
so I went there in kindergarten. That's the oh man, I want to take you now. It's so fun. It's only open in the summer, which is really weird.
Oh, I see. It's cute. It's cute as a button.
Yes, it is. And we would always like it was a thing in kindergarten where we'd all tie dye our shirts, and that was like for field trips. So we didn't lose anybody, I guess. And what it would do is we would go up and they had reindeer in finger quotes there, and they had Santa and his elves, and you would walk around and they have like a toy store, and there's like. I just the workshop.
Can I be real with you for a second? Do you think it's weird that there's a grown dude out there who decided to start that business?
I think it's weirder that people kept parading children through there for years without any recognition of the fact that maybe some of these children don't celebrate Christmas.
You don't have to celebrate Christmas to enjoy Santa's workshop, though. Okay.
Well,
Anybody can enjoy a wooden toy.
That's true. It is weird to think that. It also is weird to be like, hey, could you imagine having to walk around and enforce Santa? Like, hey,
I'm saying, like, what if Brent all of a sudden, let's just say Brent reaches out to you and through text, you're out doing an errand. He's like, listen, I want to tell you this. We'll talk about it when you get home. I think I want to change my career path. And I was wondering what your thoughts were on this. And I hope you're open to the idea, but I'd like to open Santa's workshop in where we live. You wouldn't be like interviewing children immediately? I would be.
I would be concerned. I mean, we do have a psychiatric center like 45 miles away, but I'd be like, let me just like, there'd be stipulations like, okay, I'll make the whole marketing plan, but I'm just going to need you to talk to this guy first for 45 minutes.
This sounds great. Hold on a second. Just have a talk with this officer over here for a second.
You say that into, they want to hear your plan, but it's secret. So get in the car, get in the back of the ambulance. It's where it's going to happen. Get in this little white coat. It also like, I feel like though, especially in this day and age, if I was to be like, hey, I think I'm going to open a child-centric building that is always going to attract children as like a full grown adult. Like, I get it. Like, oh, it's the novelty. It's the this, it's the that. But
it's cute as a button. I'm being a ball
it is
bust.
very cute. It is like they have some funny stuff. But the funny thing is like, that's like the middle of New York State. That's not even the top of New York State.
Yeah, it's
that's
pretty
the
far.
middle. Yeah. It's like towards
Sketchy.
so to go to Whiteface Mountain, like I love going up there and hiking, you have to pass this place at times. And then there's like Mount Van Hovenberg, which is an Olympic facility near there. So I don't know, as a kid, I enjoyed it. They also do like a Polar Express through New York in the winter. Not the
Yeah, that's so cool.
They actually have like a train that starts down in like Utica or something like that. And
I'm
goes
being a
for, like,
jerk. I think it's great. I was just fucking around, but I actually think as you're describing this more, I'm like, yeah. So I joke
But
that
it's not
I could get a
all
job at that place in
Santa's-
like 20 years probably. I'm starting to get Santa Claus-esque over here.
You're like, I've got a plan B. You were just talking about like my parents
do
didn't
it.
get a real job, so I'm gonna go work Santa at the North Pole in upstate New York. Uh, but it's definitely one of those. It's not. How do I put it? It's not all Christmassy because it's
Oh, I
open in
see,
the
okay.
summer. So there's like a playground in there, and there's like
Oh, that makes a lot of
least-
sense. That's dumb as hell.
it's one of those things where it's like it used to really be more Christmas oriented. And then I think as probably people started bitching and griping and moaning, it had to kind of like turn a little bit informal, make a different.
No, Mr. and Mrs. Claus realized that starting a business that was seasonal was the dumbest thing that they had ever done in their entire life. So they're like, we got to find a way to get children here in the other times of the year for other things. And then they bet.
It's only open in the summer. It's closed in the winter, which makes no sense.
I'm so confused.
No, you're not. It's closed at Christmas time.
I'm so confused. It makes no sense to me. I want to reach out and check in to see if everything's okay.
But
There
the
must
only
be
thing
some,
I can think of
mafia
is, like-
Santa thing going on. Yeah, there's not enough room for all the other Santas. So, we cornered this block. You can do it in the summer, okay? There's
It
Santa.
is on a block too.
Oh, I can't. See?
Like it's like turf wars.
Keep listening for the next part of this episode. Visit www.whoischristineanyway.com for access to all the social media links and additional podcast episodes. A special thank you goes out to Jesse Zuretti for appearing on this episode. I hope he comes back on soon to continue the conversation. Also, thank you to the audience for listening. It's greatly appreciated.